Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons. And we are going to talk about the making of original Dungeons & Dragons 1970 to 1977, a 500-page, $100 D&D canon hardback, right? That is astonishing in what it brings forward. So it is a complete reprinting, top to bottom, of D&D 1E. Right, the first edition of Dungeons & Dragons, in my humble opinion. And additionally, what it really is it is the first time Dungeons & Dragons Lord of the Rings Tolkien edition is full-on canon, right? It's a full Dungeons & Dragons edition print, right? And it lists hobbits, balrogs, men, dwarves, elves, right up in it, right? Saying from the gate, Lord of the Rings, Tolkien's content was canon to D&D from day one. From day one, right? It's right there in print. Go look at it for yourself, right? Read this 500-page book. It's right there. It's right there, right? And in my humble opinion, it is the first time we really get, nobody needs to go to some, get some 5e, jank copy of Middle Earth, right? It's right there, right? Dungeons & Dragons Lord of the Rings Tolkien edition is real. And it is now reprinted 50 years later legally. When it was done the first time, it was literally illegal, right? In my humble opinion. All right. What I want to talk about today is this book is astonishing, right? It reprints all of D&D 1E, okay? And you could sit down and you could run it. You guys a dungeon master, you can play it as a dragon master, right? It's all there, okay? Now, but since this is reprinting, like literally with pencil notes on the pages, right? This is history in the making. It's showing us this is D&D 1E. Here it is, with all its scars and moles, right? And so one of the things is, now looking back, knowing what was printed, right, there's this question, okay? In 1983, MAD, Mothers Against Dungeons & Dragons, came out, and they spearheaded an American upcry of American parents saying this game has occult origins and this game is dangerous to our children. We're all the way out now. Okay, we're far enough out. We have the printing, right? Was Mothers Against Dungeons & Dragons and the rest of the evangelical Christians and conservatives in America, was their concern with Dungeons & Dragons warranted, or was it ridiculous? It was absolutely warranted. Absolutely warranted, right? The idea that Dungeons & Dragons did not have deep occult origins is ludicrous because it's right on the page, right? So let's talk about it, all right? So there is so printed in the book is a big square, right? And it shows it to you empty on one page. And it says, lower corner, right? The lower left corner, hell. Middle of the square, lower middle, Hades, right? Then far upper corner, heaven. You're like, what? You're like, heaven, hell, Hades, right? Complete Christian concepts saying, hey, everybody, this is it. And then it fills that square with every creature. And it says, these creatures are good and aligned to heaven. These creatures are bad and aligned to hell. And in case it's not super clear to you, we're also going to put these labels: devil, demon. And here's every single species in Dungeons & Dragons, including hobbit, right? And men and dwarf and elf, and show you exactly where they are, closer to the devil or closer to heaven or closer to a demon, right? The occult origins are right there. It's right there printed, right? Now, the problem is Dungeons & Dragons, to my knowledge, has always been printed for 12 and up, right? That means there were young adults like that were reading this, right? So did Gary do the right thing and properly protect young people from demonic material and devilish material? 100% no. This was completely appropriate for anybody 18 or older, in my humble opinion. But they're based on how D&D, when he was printed, it should never have been given to 12-year-olds. Never, ever. Now, today the book is printed, right? And it is given to 12-year-olds, and a ton of work was done to disconnect the occult origins, right? Make it much more palatable, right? But it's right on the page. It's right on the page. It says devil, hell, Hades, demon, heaven, right? It's right on the page, right? And I feel like at this point, it's completely undeniable that the guardrails for people who were from 12 to 18-year-olds was absolutely not put on Dungeons & Dragons in those days, right? Again, another major failure on the part of Gary Gygax. He very much was not perfect. He was human. He was completely human. He was a polymath. He was the third most epic American who was ever born. It goes George Washington, Harriet Tubman, Gary Gygax, right? He absolutely changed narrative forever for all of humanity. He made books irrelevant. He made television shows irrelevant. He made movies irrelevant, right? And completely antiquated, because the most powerful narratives are now told with Dungeon Master, Dragon Master, and Dice, right? And those are the stories that matter. Those are the stories that are bound in reality, in my humble opinion, right? But the reality is, D&D's occult origins are absolutely undeniable. They are undeniable because it's printed and sitting in every Barnes & Noble in America now, right? It's right there, right? Now, I will say, am I upset with Hasbro or Wizards of the Coast for printing this? Absolutely not. This is transparency. This is us looking at the reality of Dungeons & Dragons and seeing what it truly is. The most powerful narrative experience ever created for humans on the secular side. Nothing outside the sacred sphere even comes close. And it is astonishing. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion on Dungeons & Dragons, on the making of original Dungeons & Dragons, 1970 to 1977. The important part is when I hear your humble opinion. When you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.